Welcome back, everybody.
Week 7.
Week 7 of Brews with the dudes.
And we're only 5 minutes late tonight. That's a new record for us.
It really is. Oh, man. Well, and I mean, every single time, I gotta try and find some comfort here. Every single time we do this, there are hiccups beforehand.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the hiccups are getting like a little more mild each time.
Tonight, they were completely out of our control. We tried to share the link on Facebook that said it's not a valid link for some reason.
I know.
And then out of nowhere, YouTube's like, there's no data, so you can't go live. Okay.
It's like we're being sabotaged.
Who knows? Maybe that's why we only have like 5 people that watch this. YouTube's just like, no, you guys don't get more.
We have a multiple of 5 watching
watching
us. It's more like 25. Yeah.
Is what it is.
Is what it is. So, hey, welcome back. So if life was a little more, little less crazy this year, we would be doing a live cast from Powercruise.
But it's crazy, so we're in Jake's garage again.
Yep, we're back here being lame. Some of you guys, which will probably watch this later on, are likely at Powercruise right now, and if you are, eat a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I am jealous.
I can't think of anything nice to say.
Yeah. Oh wait, we can't bleep on this.
No, because we're live. Cause you swear, and I'll try to bleep for you.
Will you? So
Bleep.
That would be a really fun game. Okay, so should I just start talking about things and then you can try and find some bleeps? Okay. I'll start with like a story. Okay, so yesterday when I was out in the yard and I was trying to like
Bleep.
build the fence, a big fucking gust of wind came through and blew over the. So we've got an umbrella that's attached to a fucking table, and you're really bad at this.
I'm horrible at this.
So now I'm just swearing a lot.
This is why it's not appropriate for kids.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't select
Well,
that
I
option.
mean, if you have your kid. Great video quality this round. Yes, thank you, Charlie. We made a few tweaks in the backgrounds, and it's improved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still not a new computer. Hopefully sometime this year.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. So, shall we jump into things?
Sure. What are we jumping into first?
Jumping into
Beer.
Lollygagger.
Oh.
Lollygagger. Okay, so what makes this beer so special to us? This is my
Amazing.
favorite beer.
This is in my top 3.
And the reason why I didn't get something intentionally just like this is my favorite beer, so this is a little self-serving.
Oh, that's fine.
But I knew that you love it.
Yes.
And Lollygagger it's kind of a seasonal beer. This isn't a beer that's just around all the time. So it's a pale ale, but it's kind of like a session pale ale.
You bought two packs, right?
I gotta. Well, I thought about it.
I only have a half day of work tomorrow, so if I'm a little drunk in the morning,
Which half can you do?
I'm supposed to be done by 10.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have a hangover,
Yeah.
maybe I'll go in at 10 and then leave at 2:30.
It's an easy out. God, that's amazing. Yeah, so it's a pale ale that has a little bit of an IPA kind of bite to it.
Yeah.
It's very unique.
Yeah. Man, it's been a while.
Right, it's been a year.
Yeah. Have you
Around a year.
Super One over on Grand?
The new one?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
not Grand Central. Yeah, I'm making a. Oh no, I took the bike. Tomorrow after work, I'm making a pit stop.
Oh, is that where I got this from?
Yeah.
No, I got this up in Woodland.
Okay, I wonder if they have it over at Super One. I didn't
Yes.
see anything.
It's hitting all
Is
of
it
the
now?
grocery
Okay.
stores as of Monday, so they will
Okay,
definitely
well
have
that's
it.
why I was Friday when I went to the store.
Well, if you're on the motorcycle, just tuck it between your legs and try and just kegel on it.
It's not a bag of cat litter.
You gotta tell that story.
So, God, how long ago was that? 6 years ago? 7 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
I have a 74 Honda CL450, and fantastic bike, but it's just old, and it also likes to do everything old Hondas do, and that's leak all the fluid everywhere. We have a local bike show called Bring Out Your Dead, and I took it there, and it actually won an award. It's the first and only bike, car, truck, whatever I've owned that has been award-winning next to the Civic.
Yeah. Which we still haven't gone to pick up.
But it won the Victor Valdez?
The Victor Valdez?
No.
Exxon Valdez?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why I'm thinking... It's been a long week.
It's okay, buddy. Yeah. I mean, maybe...
There's
maybe the Exxon Valdez is like Exxon's the brand, Valdez is the last name of the guy who is piloting the boat, and his first name is Victor. Maybe you're actually right.
Maybe. And he screwed it all up and dumped oil into the ocean.
Can you imagine if your initials are VV? I wonder what his middle name would be. If it's like Ichabod, it'd be Viv.
Could be Adam, so it's Vav.
Yeah, exactly. Victor Ichabod Valdez. That's kind of badass. I mean, I feel like you might own an island.
I'd write a book about him. Okay. Anyway, so I won the Exxon Valdez award for leaking the most oil during the show. And there was I probably should have topped it off before he left. And my trophy was a bag of cat litter, which I somehow had to get from downtown to West Duluth, which was okay. We made it home.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
For the longest time, up until I ran out of Florida Dry one day and I really needed to use it, that was just sitting on a shelf in my garage. I had it for
It's a weird trophy.
It was 4 years before I opened up that bag of cat litter.
It'd be really funny if you brought that into the house and if you guys had... a trophy case or something like that.
It's got the kids' participation medals.
Yeah,
and
maybe your Little League winnings or whatever, conference winnings, yada yada. And then all of a sudden, there's a bag of cat litter up there. Can you imagine having to explain that to people that come over?
That'd be hilarious.
It would be funny.
Maybe more people would come over.
Yeah, you'd have more friends. Oh man. Yeah.
God, this is so tasty.
Yeah, this is really just a top-notch brewski. So, what are you guys sipping on tonight? I suppose I should chat that into the chat. I'm not gonna now because now I've actually said it, but...
But I think it would get uploaded in the chat quicker than our stream, maybe?
I don't think so. I think it's all time-stamped. Well...
Anyways.
Do we want to jump into some
history?
Segments?
And we can do a history first, since that's my
do your history lesson?
So, I have a question for you.
I hopefully have an answer.
When do you think the first electric vehicle was made? Not produced, but
made.
But made.
If I had to guess, I would guess that the electric vehicles electric transport, personal transport, actually happened before gasoline engines.
Yeah,
because we had electricity before we had internal combustion.
So, on the 27th of July in 1888. It's 132 years ago, or roughly the same age as Jake. The first electric vehicle, it's kind of a tricycle, it wasn't produced, but it was built.
This one?
Yes. So you actually sit on top, and they have...
Whoa.
Yeah. So the vehicle has 10 lead acid cell batteries that put out about 10 volts not 10 volts, 20 volts, my bad, to half a horsepower DC motor. The entire setup with everything weighs about 300 pounds.
Wow.
That was in 1888.
That's wild.
It's crazy. So I believe you just steer with the levers.
So is it that same one? These are all the same thing or very similar
they're
iterations?
All very similar forms of it. Being in 1888, there wasn't a lot of photos, obviously, of it.
But just a few survivors.
Yep, these are the survivors.
Yeah, that is just awesome. I'd ride the crap out of that.
I mean, you're not going to go super fast, obviously, but it's still going to be quicker than walking.
What's kind of funny is, there's the two, I don't know, if you look at the image, there's, I don't know, probably the handles or something, but they look like stirrups. Women are going to look at that and think a different thing than us.
Yeah, I think those are
stirrups up there.
I think those are brakes.
Well, then they might be stirrups. Depending upon how you sit on the thing. If you sit on the top of that leather case,
you just push one foot down.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just flying spread eagle through town.
I like the bell on the side. All the batteries go to power the little DC motor, so you can't even there's no horn. It's just the bell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I love about it is it's very steampunk.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's not steam powered, but it's all of the accents to it, all the designing, it has that feel to it. It looks like it belongs in the movie The Wild Wild West or whatever, you know?
Actually, it's funny you say that. That's what came to mind when I first looked at it.
Right.
And that was like the only interesting thing in history that happened at this last week.
Oh, really? That was the only thing?
The only other thing I thought about sharing, the last classic Beetle rolled off the assembly line.
It's so funny.
In like 2003.
When you're like, nothing happened this week, what came to mind of a joke, and it was like, I don't know, maybe this isn't the right climate to crack the joke, but I'm like, really, Hitler didn't do anything with like the Volkswagen? Or...
Well, I mean,
so that's fitting that the last one rolled off the assembly line.
Like the early, I think it was 2003 if I remember correctly. It might be 2002.
Now, is that in Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico and I think Brazil.
I want to say Middle and South America were the last places to still make them. Yeah. They made the Combi until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, which is amazing. I mean, I guess it's simple to make, simple to work on. They never changed anything on them. So it probably extremely low cost. Fairly reliable.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about it in terms of like tooling and stuff, you're getting maximum usage out of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And... I mean,
50 years of making the same thing.
Yeah, and like the amount of parts that you'd have just to have accumulated over all of that time to just like all the excess parts that you have. Like, I mean, they could probably have shut down production in like 2000 and still made it from just all this stuff laying around for years to come.
What I'm curious about, and I probably should have done a little bit of digging on it, was how many vehicles could they push out a week? Like, how efficient did they get down to building that car? If it's been going on for that long.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, good question. Well, if you think about, like, the way that it's constructed, it's pretty modular, you know? It's like, it's all, like, these separate components, which obviously any car is, but it's, like, literally the body bolts the pan. The motor has, like, all of, 2 motor mounts, so it's just, like, all these pieces... Like, it makes a lot of sense in terms of assembly to just slap the thing together quickly. You know, the whole front end is on the beam. So the only thing that you're connecting is, like, the 2 mounting plates on the front of it and then the steering shaft. So it's like all of these different components can be completely separate, and then you just sort of slap them in with a couple of bolts here and there, and you're like, oh, drivetrain is
done.
Boom, slap in, like, the whole steering and everything in the front of it. Like, set the body on, you know? And basically, like, the pan... is made to be like its own, like you can drive the pan.
Yeah.
Like that's the hilarious part.
Like, well, our buddy Sean had an old Volkswagen Bug, and one day he's like, "Hey, need you guys to come over and give me a hand." Okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm taking the body off. Okay, so 4 of us each grabbed a corner and lifted the body off the pan.
Literally, grabbed the Bug, lifted it off. I mean, it was heavy, but we did it. Lifted that entire body off. And didn't we, like, move it away from the pan or something like that? I think
we moved it into the yard.
Yeah, because the pan was going up on the
workbench.
The workbench, work table or whatever.
Got set up for air ride and all that fun jazz.
Yeah. I wish we could have gotten our hands on that chassis. Yeah. But, you know, at some point we're going to get more into the air cools because
they're awesome.
Donnie's got one, and we both kind of have an interest in building some kind of cool bugs eventually.
Maybe we'll buy 2. He can build one and I'll build one.
I would love to. Go completely different angles with it. Different routes.
I think we should. So if anybody wants to sponsor us, we'll take 2 bugs.
Yeah, we'll take 2 bugs. And you know what that's going to be? That's going to be like 2 absolutely rotten. It'll be Sean will be like one of them. Here's this $250 rotten thing.
I'll sell it to you. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll sponsor you, but take $50 off.
Yeah. And then the other one's going to be like some dude who's like, I think there's one back in the yard and
trees growing through it.
Exactly.
Family of mice.
Yeah, it'll be a couple families. It'll be marmots. Full of marmots.
I like marmots, but
So, do you think if marmots are coming of age, do they have a mar mitzvah?
Oh, God. I can't even...
Okay, moving on.
I can't even comprehend a response to that because of how bad it was.
I know.
I'm going to need more beer.
Charlie, good choice. Makers and 7 is a really good mix.
I've never had Maker's Mark.
It's really good. It's an excellent, really smooth whiskey. Yeah. Mix it with 7-Up. You'll be really pleasantly surprised.
Whiskey is dangerous for me though. I get in trouble with whiskey.
A lot of people say
Yeah,
that.
I don't drink. I haven't had whiskey in ages because it's the one thing that kind of just makes me do things I don't want to do.
Okay. All right, good to know. That was cryptic. All right, so I mean, do we want to
move on to the next segment?
move on to a segment?
Should we make forward progress tonight?
Forward progress. We've always made forward progress.
It's usually a little bit more lateral.
Like how much nonsense is in the way.
Lots of nonsense.
So we've had our history. Move on to the dad moments.
We can do dad moments.
Moments.
Who's going first?
Oh, what did I leave up here?
You said you were ready and prepared.
I was ready and prepared to not be prepared.
Hey.
So we're going to start with yours.
After clicking through all of yours.
Oh my god. It's pretty smooth. Okay, so dad moments. Go ahead.
All right, well,
Explain
I'm
yours.
a dad and I had some moments.
You had a moment.
And, so this past weekend, as a kind of a tradition that we started, we rented a cabin up in Mackinac, which is about an hour north of Duluth here, with my folks, my grandmother, and my sister and her husband. And kids love it, and we just got to do fishing with them. Harper I took out in the kayak. Roman tried to go with my wife, but he kept wanting to stand up. So she's sitting there paddling the kayak, and he kept wanting to stand up and getting hit with the paddle and stuff like that.
He never got knocked out.
He never got knocked out, but she kept
bad.
having to force him to sit down.
He's a life jacket on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
I'm not
if he got
that
knocked
bad.
out, it'd be funny.
Yeah, because just float. Well,
he'd flop and then he'd float.
So we did that, and we also.
Has he ever been in the water with life jacket on?
Yeah.
So he knows the feeling.
Oh yeah.
Of just like. When you're that age, they're just helpless,
yeah,
so they just kind of float.
They just kind of bob and
they
look
bob,
around.
yeah.
We also did a paddle boat, which we took him out on and stuff, and he got a little fussy on that. And I told him, like, you don't chill out, like, I will drop you in the water. we will drag you back to the dock.
Oh man, that'd be pretty funny. Because don't life jackets for kids? They have the little loop at the very top and the back, so it's like
a little loop
you could just
hook them on.
Hook a little hook into that thing, and you can literally get pulled back.
But, they gotta
probably be into it.
They gotta do some fishing and all that. Harper and I went on the we went on the kayak, and she saw I think 4 or 5 turtles just hanging out sunbathing on a log, and
nice. Just
a really chill, nice, relaxing weekend with the family and. To get away from everything. So yeah, that's one of the docks that was maybe, 60 feet from the cabin.
Yeah.
And just private lake, I think we saw 4 other people there the entire weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. What a picturesque picture, like what a perfect scene too.
Yeah, I believe my wife was fishing in that picture. I don't think you can quite see the rod.
Yeah, I think you can see like the crank and
like
I
think the rest of the rod kind of blends with the water, but I believe she's fishing and the kids are just kind of sitting there hanging out.
That's so cool.
So we caught a bunch of like sunfish, bluegill, perch, just that kind of stuff.
Panfish.
Yep, but still a good time.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things too. Like I'm obviously like love video, love photography and stuff, and it's like. I have an eye for the moments and stuff, and when I was loading that into the software earlier today, kind of getting ready for the podcast, I looked it out and I was like, oh, Donnie knew to capture this moment.
So that photo is taken with the wife's cell phone.
Oh, okay.
There's no editing, nothing.
It's just gorgeous.
That's simply frame it right, click, done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's a great photo.
So and my wife Christine's huge into scrapbooking too, so it's like now you have a bunch of photos. Like I brought the Sony up and took a bunch of photos and stuff, but like now you can do a whole page on the cabin and all that, and kids when they get older can look back on it and be like, oh cool, we gotta do all this fun stuff. And
well, so what's funny is like I'm pretty sure I know this lake.
Probably
because I lived in Mackinac for a window of time.
I think this is Leisure Lake.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's what they call it. So we were on like Leisure Lake Road, I believe. What the road is.
I think this is the one. So there was it's where a boat launch.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's the lake that I'm thinking of, it's tucked back a ways in Mackinac. It's not like straight up in the middle of it. Mackinac's this tiny little township.
Do you know? Okay, so you'll pass the volunteer fire department and post office. You take a right to where there used to be a gas station. It's not. The building's still there, but it's closed.
Uh-huh.
You follow down that road. It S curves. It turns into a dirt road, and then you take a left.
God, that's so funny. Okay, so
You know exactly what I'm
I'll
talking
preface by saying I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger, and I got in a lot of trouble in Mackinac.
How?
We
There's
used
nothing there to get in trouble with.
That's exactly it. That's what you think. Because you look at it and you're like, oh, there's nothing going
There's like
on
4
here.
people that live here.
But there's a lot of kids that grew up, especially in my age group. And we played hard out there. The amount of like pit parties and
Okay, so lots of drinking and
a little bit of drugs and yeah. So you're actually the location that you're describing. My best buddies growing up before it was either just before or just after that S curve. They lived over there.
Okay.
And they lived in a log cabin house, and we partied a lot there, a lot. So it's just really funny to hear you like describing like the route and stuff, and I'm like literally like seeing it in my mind. I'm like taking the right in the old Dodge minivan that we used to max out, because right, the hill, there's super huge hills.
Yep, there's a couple good hills there.
If you crest those hills at 100 miles an hour, you catch air.
we were doing like 50 down them, and you could feel it in your stomach.
Dude, so we had it must have been like a 93 Dodge Caravan. So, yeah, I think it was probably about a 93. And they put a V6 3.3 liter in them for one of the models. So we had one of those. The thing hauled the mail. Like, it was hilarious. It was a minivan that ripped. And in a minivan, I would drive like a maniac on those hills. So it would be packed full of me and my idiot friends. And I would be just like foot to the floor. And we would crest those hills. And you just feel the whole suspension lift. Like, I don't know how much air we got. It could have been like an inch, 2 inches. But the steering wheel would do this. You know? It was terrifying. And it was a minivan, of all things. You don't land that perfectly. The thing's going to go... you know?
So what you're saying is we need to
and there's just stoned kids flying out windows, and it'd just be a massacre.
So we need to do Dodgy Bond and go out there and rip it up.
Oh my god, an old Dodge van. Yes,
okay.
We do need to do that.
Well, we should probably turn this off and get going.
Yeah, I guess we gotta go find a Dodge van.
We could find one.
There's a rusty one in West Duluth.
If anybody knows about somebody, share it with us.
Yeah, actually, no joke. Like, if somebody knows of
a good, clean Dodge van.
Yeah, a relatively rust-free Dodge van. We want it. I think we explained what Dodgy Bond was.
Oh yeah,
we had a van episode, didn't we?
I think so. I think we've had like two episodes now. We've talked about it. Mm. So, anyways, that's my dad moment.
That's an awesome dad moment. Yeah.
Oh.
I love that. I mean, normally I would have been camping a million times this summer by now. I don't want to say a million. I'd be like 4, or 3 times or something like that. But because of the whole COVID situation, my wife being pregnant, we just can't get out and do a whole lot this year. So it's really a bummer. I'm a little jelly of you getting to go and do that. Hoping at some point before the end of the summer to get to go sit by a fire on a lake. Hoping for it. So we'll see. It's the best.
Oh, it's super chill.
Right now the majority of our viewers are local because they either know of us or they're following us on social media. There's a handful that are out of state.
We keep bugging them. Please support us.
Yeah. But Minnesota is really special. Like, one of the stereotypical experiences is that when you live here, a lot of people have a cabin too. Like, it's really cool. Like, the amount of people that grow up with a house and with a cabin on a lake was like super common, especially up until like the millennial generation, which we just don't really have the money to afford it.
But we could rent.
Property taxes have gone up, and definitely like there's a million of them, and a lot got turned into rentals, Airbnbs or retreats, or
there's one other site. There's other Airbnb type apps you can do and stuff. That's how we found this one. And they're any lake you can think of, somebody is renting out a cabin for the weekend there.
There are, I think, they call it the land of 10,000 lakes, but I actually think it's closer to 11,000.
Probably.
Yeah, 11,000 lakes. So if you think about, it's a decent sized state, but I mean that's a lot. Spread that out over the whole thing. Like, basically, if you come up here, there's a lake that you can go sit on.
Well, in Mackinac, I mean that lake is rather small. Like, you can kayak all the way around it and not feel super tired afterwards. And then you go to, like, Lake Vermilion, where I wouldn't want to kayak it at all because it's just massive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that would be, wait, which one?
Lake Vermilion? On the other
Vermilion.
side?
Vermilion is
That's a good sized lake.
That's another can of worms. We used to take speedboats out there, because growing up, we always had boats, and my dad, well, we had a pontoon, we had a paddle boat, my grandparents had a pontoon, which they lived, or their cabin was like, I don't know, 300 feet from our place, or somewhere in that vicinity. It was close. So we had just like a ton of boats at our disposal, and depending upon what the trip was, we'd bring out the appropriate boat. And usually it was like just a sportier boat, so kind of a speedboat, but one that could be used for fishing. And I remember one memory of going up to Vermilion, and so Lake Vermilion is a really big lake, like covers quite a decent amount of square acreage, right? And if it gets choppy out there, it's, you know, if you're from around the ocean, like, you're just gonna laugh. But I mean, you know, it's
it
like,
get choppy.
It get really choppy. It was like water would rush into the boat at the, you know, like it was pretty rough. It wasn't the ocean, you know, like I've seen some choppy stuff on the ocean, and it was, you know, it was a completely different can of worms. It's a lake, but there was a handful of times that we were out there, and the amount of like just nasty weather that we were hitting was wild. You know, it was like imagining somebody going out there on a kayak or a canoe.
Yeah,
oh
no
man.
Yeah.
Like on a nice day, it's still relatively choppy on there. It's pretty wild lake.
What could it be worse? It could be Lake Superior, where if you crash your boat,
right,
you're probably gonna die.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, well, so my dad moment. Going to my dad moment. We got a lot of action in the chat, and so it's kind of like
I think it's funny that my wife and Charlie have formed their own conversation.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's like the old AOL Instant Messenger days. And you and I are just
right
here for background noise now.
So, welcome Steve and Christine. Thanks for joining us. All right, so my dad moment. So we'll go back. This is Donnie Christine's moment. Here's mine. So I've been building this fence for bulk of the summer, kind of bouncing back and forth between that and working on the kids' rooms in the house. So I've needed to get the gates up because the bulk of the fence has been up already. It's relatively enclosed, but there was 2 spots where the gates are going to be that weren't done. So finally, the other day, I started like focusing on it, really cranking it out, and I actually built this fence door. And so my dad moment is really just like, I spent probably 5 or 6 hours working on this fence, this gate. And if you look at it, you'll see all the little detail that I ended up putting into it. So when you use hog pen fencing, you want to cover the edges. So you want to like kind of box everything in so that the fencing itself, the metal fencing part actually stays in place. So I've got little 1x2 that makes around the edge. You need to brace a door because it spans over a fair amount, of distance. So it's like, this one's 6 feet. So you have to tie everything together so it doesn't have twist or warp. And so that's where like, you get those 2 angled pieces there. But the top is really where I spent a lot of time of trying to make something that was relatively kind of decorative. So everything is green treated. So it's a AC2, and then the top one is a cedar tone, and the cedar tone is it's basically a green treated piece of wood as well. So what you have is the play set in the yard, and that's also a cedar color. So this kind of matches it. This blends it all together. It really
ties the yard together.
It really ties the yard together, exactly.
I'm going to pee on it one day, just so you know.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And so, really like simple system, but just trying to like make everything as pretty as possible, but as functional as possible. So I was pretty proud of like this outcome of a, really nice, like I've made fence gates before and nothing's ever came out quite as nice. So that was like a lot of fun putting that thing together, because it's like,
it's the feel of accomplishment. Like,
it is, and like the amount of time that I spent with like the little details. Because if you look at it, I used the round 1x2 that I was using to frame in the hog pen fencing. I also used that to add a chevron, a pair of chevrons on the top of it. So you've got the red cedar tone, and then that splits it. So that way you've got the chevron, you've got the framing inside of it that makes a triangle, and on the top you've also got chevrons as well. So it kind of like the elements are a little bit mixed.
Yeah, it adds a good flow to it.
Yeah, and like the reasoning why I did that, and like I know it sounds like really artsy fartsy, like you put a lot of time into that.
Your cedar was a little too short to cover the span.
Yes. So the reasoning was I had 2 pieces of cedar that were like 8 inches too short for the whole thing. So I was like, well, how do I do something with this? And so that's what I came up with was, well, okay,
that's
like I'll make it decorative.
Though. Yeah.
So I threw it on the table saw and I cut the rounded edges off. So I gave it a blocky look on the backside. And that way, if you take the 1x2 and you sort of frame it around the outside, you can get it nice and hugged up and tight to it. Because that 1x2 is it has a bevel on all the edges. It has a curved edge, rounded edge.
Which is nicer for a gate, though, because you don't want sharp edges and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's, it was fun. It was a little bit of overkill. It's very Jake in that,
yes.
like, I have a tendency to do that.
You've seen my fence, right?
Kind of make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, my fence is very much, hey, does it keep the dogs in the yard?
Your fence is,
cool.
Is very utilitarian, we'll put it that way.
Mine was the pre-made panels from Menards.
Yeah.
So I was kind of screwed from the get-go because, let's be honest, Menards doesn't have the best material to begin with.
Yeah, I think it's kind of miraculous when you get a straight piece of wood from Menards.
Yeah, and then you get wood fencing. So what are the odds any of them are going to be straight?
Oh, man. I know, and I do have to give you a hard time about your fence just because, like, when you close the door, the whole thing kind of sways.
I probably should. The post for the gate should probably actually be cemented.
Yeah.
I use those.
I can help you with
like
that.
I think they're 2.5 feet long spikes, which worked really well and was super quick because at the time, like, I had 3 days to get the fence up and get everything moved into the house and all that kind of stuff. I was on a really tight time scale. So it worked, but yeah, that one post is it got worse with kids. Harper just slams that gate. Well,
imagine that. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna hang off the fence. Exactly. Harper has like no finesse. She's a little punk rocker, so she's slamming every door and every gate. Yeah. So that's gonna happen. But yeah, one of these days we should just dig it up and pour in a couple of 50-pounders of quick fast setting or whatever.
Whenever you're free, you're more than welcome to come over.
I mean, like, doing the concrete work on that fence post, like, because I had to also, on the last image, the one that shows, like, the latch and everything like that post I had to toss in there as well, and I mean, that took half an hour to do.
Oh, that's not bad.
Just dig your hole, slap the post in, have it mounted up against something. You want to, like, you want to have a couple pieces of wood just holding it in place, pour in your fast-setting concrete, and then just dump your water in. Yeah. I mean, that's the best part of it is like fast setting concrete. You just dump it into the hole and then you pour water into it. It's
exactly like it sounds like?
No, it's like you don't have to premix it. You don't have to throw it into a bucket or into a wheelbarrow or something like that and mix it all. Like, you're literally just dumping the dry mix into the ground and then you pour water in and it sets.
Because I think that one post,
amazing.
If I fixed that one post and actually did concrete, I think the rest of the fence would be fine because that one post takes all the use. All the other portions of the fence, nice and sturdy, no problems. It's just that one post that gets kind of wobbly.
Like, what I would do is like, I would look at it and see how much movement you have in it. I would definitely do anything where there's a gate on it, especially the gate on the side of the house as well, because you've got saggage on the door. Yeah. So if you do concrete right there, you're not going to have that saggage as bad. It's going to hold it up nice and kind of tight. So yeah, I mean, we could crank that out easily in an afternoon.
Okay, well, I'm gone next week. So if you
I'll just run over and I'll just take care of it. If you want to come over. Okay, perfect.
I'll let you pet the dogs.
Oh, okay, that's
and
cool.
I'll leave you half a 6-pack in the fridge.
Tie that yard together. Lots of chip games. Wow. There's like a whole other conversation going on in the chat. I kind of love it. All right.
I told you, we're just background noise.
We really are. I mean, I don't mind that. This is the whole point of this thing. It's why we're doing it live. Like, we could do this pre-recorded, and then we could have... It'd be easier to do guests. It would be easier to...
Be fancy and have all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, better graphics and all that kind of stuff. But it's like...
Graphics.
Graphics.
We have okay graphics, but...
Graphics.
We actually had graphics.
Aloe. Call back to last week. Yeah, so what were we saying?
Talking fencing.
Fencing.
Dad
all right.
moments.
Dad
I think we're on to the next segment.
So normally this would be fail of the week.
Yeah, but that's our entire week.
Yeah. All right. So
weekend, more weekend than anything else.
Fail of the week.
Is we're only on our second beer and it's 8:45.
How many have you had?
I've had a beer.
My math is terrible. I grabbed it. I'm like, there's only 3 left. How did you have 2 already? Like,
you are controlling the beer.
I just handed one to you.
I was gonna say, how many times have you handed me beer? Once?
I don't know.
Twice.
I mean, like maybe you're like Stretch Armstrong and your arm reached or I don't know. Cheers, ladies.
Shook this one up.
Ladies and ladies. But really, thank you guys very much for joining us. This is a blast.
We clearly have fun doing it.
We do it live. That's such a funny phrase. We do it live, you know. We do this thing live because we want to be able to have people come in and talk and do things like chat with us
and stuff. Yeah.
Join in the conversation. Like I know that we're doing the bulk of the talking, but really like we love seeing things going on in the chat and. Like, we want to try and bring that into the podcast as well. Like, this whole COVID situation has been such a mess. Is there something you caught in here?
My wife's talking about the fence gate and all that. And why it's sad.
She's shit-talking your work?
Well, that one is like, it's an entire panel turned into a gate because there's a really goofy size. So actually what I need to do is add a wheel to it.
Oh, sure.
And that would help. It's one of those things like, we only use that gate when we mow.
Well, you should...
I just completely forget about it. I just need to add a wheel.
Yeah, well, I can help you with that.
Okay. Next Thursday.
There we go. The live podcast will be in your yard, and we'll be in the background fixing things.
You will be in the background fixing things.
And you'll be entertaining the people?
No, I'll be at another cabin. I told you. This is the 3rd time I've told you this.
I know, but like, how would we do the podcast?
It'll just be you.
It'll literally just be me in the background, like digging holes and pouring in concrete.
That's it.
Would you guys watch that? That doesn't sound too good to me. Okay. So we do this live podcast because we're in the middle of a pandemic and, we realize that a lot of people aren't just able to get out and do anything, you know. We would be at Powercruise right now. We would be like our Christmas.
We'd still be drinking beer, but it'd be at a different location.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be tents in the background, not a broken Ford.
Yeah, it's not broken.
It's a torn apart Ford.
Yeah, it's being assembled.
Okay.
Whatever. Is there a word for that? Being assembled?
It's in the engineering process.
It's in the engineering process. Exactly. Which we're onto the steering now. So, I don't know that I'm going to have an episode out tomorrow. I wanted to. I don't know that that's going to happen. But in the coming days, like soon, it's almost done. And that's on the cross member. Now, after the cross member, we're onto the steering system in it.
Yep,
So
whole nother
that's
direction.
Exciting. Yeah, I'll say.
No, hopefully it'll go smooth. We got a lot figured out tonight. It should be simple. Should be.
Famous last words.
Nothing ever is.
No, definitely not. So, yeah. Wow, we're horrible at staying on topic.
Okay, well, we should probably do the next segment.
All right, we should probably do that.
Because that was the purpose of the segment. So
yeah, right.
On topic.
Thank you for joining us.
Again.
The live casts. We're having a lot of fun with it. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. So, all right, let's talk about the next segment, which would have been fails of the week. So we get to keep talking.
Check.
Powercruise, massive fail. We're not there.
Good.
This sucks. Next topic. All right, so we're on to Marketplace, and I don't remember which one of us starts on it. I don't remember which.
I will warn you guys. So I have 2 on here.
Well, do you want to share both of them, or do you want to save one for next week?
I'm okay with sharing both of them.
Okay, perfect. And I've got one.
There's one of them, though, if I had a little bit more fun money set aside, I was tempted to make an offer on it. Just because it's so cool. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it.
So let's jump into it.
It's not that one.
All right. All right, first one. Donnie, tell us a little bit about this thing.
So it's a RSX that the guy turned into... I don't know. I think they were just having fun with it, obviously.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Just to see what they can do with it. My guess was probably a beater that they picked up.
Well, if you look at it, the front end is mangled. The rear end has no bumper, so it makes you wonder if the rear end was, is like a front and rear collision. The doors are really dented up. The quarter panel's dented.
Yep.
There's a lot of screwed up stuff on this thing.
And if I remember correctly, the guy who posted it for sale was a younger gentleman. So my guess is they scooped it up for $500 just to screw around with it and see what they can do.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is this particular vehicle had a stack come out of the hood, and it melted the wiring harness and the plastic engine cover and all that kind of stuff. But I was just more blown away if somebody took the time to take a POS vehicle and turn it into a ute just because they had nothing better to do on their time.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, why not?
I mean, it's exactly what we did at the Civic.
Exactly, and that's the thing is, like, if you can save a car from going to the scrapper for $500 or less, in our case less, why not?
Yeah,
why not just
really
have fun with it and just see what you can build?
Well, it's amazing like how much fun you can have with a cheap pile of junk. Like a car that you truly don't care about, you've got very little money invested into.
It's been so much fun watching that car sit in front of my house for the last 2 months.
Oh my god, I know. And here, like I'm getting private invites to rally crosses. And we just don't have time.
There's Facebook groups where people are like, "Oh, I drove past that car's been posted on the internet. I think 3 times in the last handful of months." And people are like, "Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to build one like that. Blah blah blah, whatever." And we're like, "Yeah, it's very awesome. We love the car, but we never drive it."
I know.
I think it's a matter of too many projects.
Well, I think it's front wheel drive.
Yeah.
So it's like to have a lot of fun with it, it needs to be either winter or we need to be at a rallycross. Because that's its bread and butter. Otherwise, you're just cruising in a Civic. You're cruising in a Civic that's like dusty, and the exhaust up front leaks into the car a little bit.
The radio is stuck on one setting.
And if you turn it up, you can't turn it down.
If you turn it down, it goes up.
Yeah.
So it's best if you leave the radio off.
Yeah, you just listen to the purr of the engine.
It smells like exhaust.
Yeah.
There's a crack in the exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's an amazing car for what we
burnouts.
do with it. Yeah, exactly. So that's been sitting. I think that comes down to being front wheel drive because we can't just go take it out to do burners. Like if it was rear wheel drive, if that was like an E30, we go to like find a gravel pit and we go whip shitties, or we'd go to a parking lot and whip shitties, or
a rainy day.
We go into your yard and we'd whip shitties, or a rainy day and we'd go into the
shitties.
Yeah, courthouse and
whip shitties.
Whip shitties. So I think that's really part of the problem. But we do have something rear wheel drive that we will eventually be throwing together.
Yeah, it's number.
Where does that fall?
I think it's number 3 or 4 on the list.
3. I think it's 3.
Are we including the shoebox?
4. If we include that guy, it's number 4.
It's number 4.
Yeah. But it's on the list, so
it's on the list.
That's going to be a completely different can of worms. So there's a good chance the Civic might get put up for sale, and we'll kind of see what happens if
it's an award-winning race car. So
it is.
Make us an offer.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you can't buy trophies. Trophy. You have a trophy.
Marketplace.
Number 2.
Let's move on to Donnie's second.
Yeah, this
find.
thing. I love this thing. Oh, it's so cool. Somebody took a riding lawnmower and added it to a motorcycle, and I don't know why. I think it's badass.
Now, is this what you wanted to buy?
I would buy this in a heartbeat.
Here's the funny thing. I'm pretty sure that's a... Is that a Cowie?
Yeah, it's a Kawasaki.
Oh, there it is. It says right there, 80s Kawasaki. So where's the mower? Like, where's the deck? Or is it just like the mower body?
It's the mower body was added to it.
Oh, so it doesn't actually mow?
No, it doesn't actually mow.
It doesn't actually mow.
I don't know. I think it looks really cool.
I think it looks cool too.
I don't think it's worth 2,500. I think he was asking 25 for it.
Oh yeah,
It's not worth
insane.
25. Those Kawasaki's aren't worth 1,500. In my opinion. It's definitely cool and unique.
I'm surprised that they want that much money.
I think they're trying to go for the wow factor.
I'm bummed that it doesn't have the mower components on it.
I would pay $2 if it could mow my lawn, but because it can't, I feel 1,500 is probably a safe price for that.
You know what? I'd pay $500 if I'm completely honest, just because I don't want it that bad.
Fair enough. I just think it looks super cool. I don't know why. I like the boxiness.
I love the blockiness. I mean, it looks very I don't know, like it's Mad Max.
Yeah.
It looks really Mad Max. So like little like satin black on it, and
it reminds me of all
rust.
the lawnmower go-karts people make, I think.
Right.
And I love those. I think that's why
true.
I love that.
It is, and that's one of the things about Powercruise. I'm just gonna start crying before the end of this.
I'd hand you a tissue, but A, I don't care, and B, I don't have any.
Okay, perfect. So at Powercruise, there's always like the pit cruisers. That's the whole reason why we built the ones that we did, and you'd get lawnmowers. These guys would set these things up to just be cruisers, and they'd be driving around. The one guy does pop wheelies.
Yeah, he drops it down a gear and it lifts it up.
I don't know how he did that. Yeah, he'd be cruising in like the second gear, and then he'd drop it down into first, and it'd just like hop. It would just go pop and pop right up.
On a positive note, it's the first year the trike didn't break down at Powercruise.
Yeah.
There's that.
So we should probably break it this weekend.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you find on Marketplace?
All right. What I found on the place of the market is
I found that one.
Bam. All right. It's a Ballin Geo Metro 4x4. All right. So what we got here is a Metro convertible that has been converted into a ute. So it's hilarious that we've got two utes.
It's not even a practical ute, though.
Dude,
you can fit a
look
launcher.
at all the shit you could put in the back of that thing.
He's got like two chairs and a center console
in the back.
What is that?
I don't know. He's got somebody's full kitchen. I don't know what he's got back.
So
There's a lot of crap.
Can I haul a couple of cornhole boards?
Cornhole boards? That's really specific. Or really random. Yeah, man. I don't know. I love this thing. So it's sitting on a Geo Tracker frame.
I'm not saying I wouldn't drive it. I do think it's
I would daily this thing. I mean, I would go down to the beach and I would yell at all of the 40-year-old women like, hey, and just have the best time ever. I mean, like, can you imagine, like, roll up on this thing? I feel Macklemore playing on the radio.
Okay, I like Malcolm.
Malcolm Moore?
Macklemore?
I like him, but I can't pronounce him.
He's got that song Thrift Shop that's super catchy.
Yeah, this car is Thrift Shop.
So is that the problem with the Civic? It's just not a ute? Do we need to make it a ute and then raise it up?
All right, Steve, I'm just going to interject here. Steve, Weekend Shenanigans, absolutely, my man. Absolutely. All right, so we need to lift the Civic? Turn it into a truck? Yes.
Is that what we need to do?
Yes.
Then we'll drive it more?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Like, we might take it off-roading. Why not? Like,
maybe? I'm 100% in.
I don't know. What should we do?
All of it.
Should we lift it?
We should lift it.
All right. So, if we lift it, how are we going to lift it? Because you have to, like, also move the subframe down.
Okay.
Because otherwise you get, like, really weird caster issues.
You do know that we put an S10 clip on the front of the shoebox, right?
So we can do anything.
Almost.
Almost anything.
Yeah, we're limited by tools and time and money.
We should lift it.
We should lift it.
Should we lift it, like, 4 inches? And run smaller tires. I mean, it doesn't have the torque to turn a taller tire, so it's just going to get slower.
That's true. We could boost it.
It would be we could definitely turbo it. And
lift it.
Oh, man. Turbo it to make up for the lack of power to rotate the tires.
Exactly. So it just cruises down the road like a normal
pile of shit that would be. Can you imagine trying to drive that, like, before boost kicks in? Because you have to run a tiny turbo.
Try going up Misawa.
I mean, what if you had like a 35R on it, and so you got to wait until 4,500 for the thing to hit full boost. So you're sitting there and it's just dogging, you know, and you have to watch the R's try and get up to 4,500. You're just waiting and waiting, and the turbo's just kind of like.
And
whoosh! Shift. Whoosh! It'd be the worst thing ever. Unless you had a really tight ratio trans, then it'd be different. You'd probably stay in boost a little better, but I think we should do it.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I'm still trying to find a negative in all this.
I don't know, like
A boosted
lag.
a boosted lift.
I don't want to buy a 35R. We'll just get some Wu-Tang war whistle. Is that what they're calling them?
It's funny. That's what everyone keeps telling me I should buy. It's just, just buy some
put a turbo.
Yeah, just buy some turbo off eBay. Okay.
Steve says straight axle gasser. Straight axle gasser Civic?
Could do that.
Wait. No. Unless you put the motor in the back.
Why not? The back's already hacked up.
Straight axle. I mean, imagine trying to like retrofit a straight axle into the front and still keeping it front wheel drive.
No, we put the motor in the back, obviously.
Well, yeah, I know, but it'd be
It's
hilarious.
already cut up.
You know, you just make a chain drive to a front axle, like a Dana 30, 35, 30, 30.
Or we
Whatever
sell
the
the
XJ.
Civic and we still go with Plan A.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna do Plan A anyways.
So, Steve, buy the Civic and then
Yeah.
do your gasser bill.
Well, yeah, there you go. You can put your straight axle in the back and keep it front wheel drive. Okay. So yeah, that is my marketplace of the week.
I do like
Ballin'
it.
ass Geo Tracker. I mean, look at
I won't
non-running though. That's the thing. Like that's why it's $500.
Wait, that's only $500.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
no
don't tell me
joke.
that.
That's only $500.
Don't tell me that. How far away is it?
Marshfield.
What's that at?
So not far.
Okay. My wife would probably kill me if I brought home another.
I mean, that's like.
If I brought home one more car, that's pushing the limit of cars I'm allowed to have.
I wonder. So it's a Geo Tracker. So it's got a 4-wheel drive system.
I mean, I have 5 cars, and then she's got her Pilot.
You have 5 cars.
I have the Civic. I have a rear-wheel drive project.
Yeah.
The bus.
The Buzz. Oh wow.
The BMW.
The Forester.
The Forester. And the wife's got the Pilot.
Oh man.
So if I came home with one more car, that would probably be it.
Or she'd make sweet love to you and tell you how impressed she is with your ability to collect piles of shit. Oh wait, that's not likely?
No,
Oh,
probably
okay.
not. She would probably
Alright.
feel a little bit better if we ever got to the bus and was running and driving.
Well, it's good because that's the next step.
That is next on the list.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love that thing.
It's super cool.
That is like
It's very cool.
I don't know. I love it.
So one of these days, we'll have to fully commit and try to purchase something we find on the marketplace.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these
Once
days.
we chip away our project list a little
We
bit
might
more.
end up buying a motorcycle or
A motorcycle. I didn't even think of that's brilliant.
Yeah.
A motorcycle.
Or, I mean, what else have we shown the people?
There was that van.
The Mazda truck.
The Mazda truck was pretty cool.
That was pretty sweet. But he wanted a grip for that thing.
Yeah, that
And
van
for
was
good
pretty
reason.
sweet,
It was
though.
pretty built.
We just need more money. As always.
Oh, straight axle gasser on the shoebox? No, sorry, buddy. No, but what I would do, speaking of gassers, like, I was never a big gasser fan until I saw Blasphemy. So, you ever watch Roadkill?
Seen a couple episodes.
If you haven't watched a lot, just watch the crap out of it. You got Motor Trend on demand, right?
Obviously.
Okay, so watch it. Like, you'll binge it. It's like the best car show, period. And when you start seeing a little bit about Blasphemy, you'll just have a whole new respect for Mopars.
Oh,
So Blasphemy, I'm trying to remember.
I've seen the ranch.
I wanna
Ford
say-
Rancho episode.
Oh, the Ranchero? Yeah,
Ranchero,
that's
thank
a
you.
fun one. So Blasphemy, I think, is a Tri-5 with a, oh man, was it a big block Hemi? Something like that in it. It is a monster. And
Jesus.
I don't remember which episode it is, but he takes it, I think it's Drag Week. And it's hands down, like, I was on the edge of my seat for the hour-long episode. It is a masterpiece of a story. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it.
Well, it's not going to be
Watch
tonight.
it.
Maybe tomorrow.
You should watch it tonight.
No.
Yes.
I gotta be up at 5.
Quitter.
Yeah.
You're not as dedicated to the craft, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have other responsibilities in
Yeah,
life.
I suppose. All right, so
At least I drive my projects.
your projects run well enough to drive, except for the bus,
Yeah.
except for the rear-wheel drive thing. Civic runs like a top.
First off, the rear-wheel drive thing is our project.
Yeah, but then you counted that as a 1 for you, though.
It's at my place.
And you counted the Civic as a 1.
Also at my place.
That's true. I
Yeah.
think I've been living at your place.
Yeah, you have your wife's dad's truck,
Yep.
your Subaru, and this sitting at your place, in your wife's car.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
And
bring
my
the-
LGT.
You know what? I might just bring the Civic over someday and
You can.
not tell you, and then just toss the keys in your mailbox or something.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'm gonna-
I need something to do burnouts in.
I'm gonna park it in the worst place possible, like your front yard up the hill a little bit.
So it's that wouldn't work
Yeah, I'm gonna park it on the slope.
on this. Oh, like sideways?
Yeah.
Like just about to tip over?
Yep.
That's great. My son will walk under it.
Why is your son outside not being supervised? That's what I want to know.
Okay, buddy. All right, Mr. Shenanigans. Okay,
All
let's
the
talk about
shenanigans.
machines of caffeine.
Yep.
So
One's happening. Okay,
one is
next.
happening next.
No, that should be 16th. Wow, my
Yeah,
dates are way
you're
off.
terrible with the dates. So yeah, August 16th, going on in the usual place, usual format, usual dudes.
Yep, we do recommend social distancing still with everything going on. And feel free to wear a mask if you choose so. It is outside, so it's not required by law.
Yep.
But just be smart.
Well, I mean, out of respect for everybody else, cover your ugly mug. We don't want to look at
Yep. Steve, if you show up, we do have a paper bag for you
it. Yep.
if you want it.
With holes cut out for the eyes, too.
Yep.
Just you'll see where you're going.
It's just one big hole, though.
So it's like a paper bag, but like with the face cut out. How amazing would that be? Have we got any paper bags in here? I mean, best I can do is a plastic bag.
We got, yeah.
I mean, we got like the beer box, and that's just not big enough. Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to like cut out holes in this thing.
Just so you're aware, you haven't handed me a third beer. I know your math's a little
I
bad.
haven't. All right.
It makes a good hat, though.
It does. It won't. Oh.
Oh.
Hey. So, it's like a baseball cap. You know what's funny? It kind of reminds me of like those winter hats, like the big fuzzy ones,
that
that like
under
bomber
your neck.
hats. This is the
That's the hat of West Duluth,
Shit.
is what that is.
what is that stupid Square video game where like everything's like
Minecraft?
Minecraft. This is the Minecraft bomber hat. Okay, so machines of caffeine. August 16th. We'd love to have you guys. This year, our first one was last month, and it was just a blast. So let's keep that energy going.
If you want a reserved spot, get a hold of us. We can hook you up with one of those. We do have a nice grassy knoll for our showroom. So
Yeah.
let us, just hit us up if you want to park there or whatever. Free coffee as always. Back alley helping us out with everything and opening up his shop doors. So it's a great time.
It is a great time. Yeah, that it is. All right, so I mean,
Oh, we have quite the list.
we have the list, but we've gone through the list.
Have we?
We have.
We went through the entire list.
We've gone through all the segments. We've drank the beer. But I don't know if I want to quit yet.
No,
I'm enjoying this too
I
much.
saw a beer in here.
So, topic. You got anything?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow. Wow, this is great, guys. This is riveting. Somebody help us.
I'm kind of put on the spot. Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Let's get you involved in the conversation here.
All right, nobody is.
No.
And the funny thing is there's a delay. There's like a 20-second delay, so we're just going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs. So, okay, I don't know if you've noticed it around Duluth, but they're redoing a bunch of roads, and it's like they've made them rougher.
Yeah, they.
I don't know what that is.
Is it Central? It's not Central Ave. There's the street that my sister lives on by the Catholic school.
It's a couple Catholic schools, which
it's the Catholic school that was very Catholic and took over the whole block and destroyed 3 houses to build a parking lot. That Catholic school.
That's cute.
Yeah, very Catholic.
Eminent domain,
yeah.
Catholic style.
Yeah. But that whole street, they're like redoing it. But you're right, they kind of tore it up.
Yeah, it's like they've got loose gravel signs.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, are they making the surface rough so the new asphalt bites to it, or is that just the new texture?
I don't know. Like you can see
it's
where,
weird.
Well, what's even weirder is you can see where like the lines and everything were painted.
Yeah, like they're painted onto it.
So it's like they took a layer off of it and then called it good.
Yeah. I don't get it. Like I cruised up like Haines today, which is like a major road. And yeah, that's the whole situation is it's rough all the way up to, I mean, it's like a mile and a half, 2 miles, like really main artery road. And then all of a sudden it just stops when it reaches the top of the hill. And it's like road's under construction. But they don't... It's just really weird. Like, I don't know, are they doing it to have the new asphalt bite into it, or...
Well, the thing is
that it?
They haven't been fixing the roads that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
For instance, 4th Street, where my parents live.
Oh, well, that's 4th? Yeah,
that's
4th Street, yeah.
That whole...
You mean the road you grew up on that I know better what it is?
It's 4th Street.
It's 4th Street.
Yeah. That whole thing
I'm an
needs
idiot.
to be... Oh, I know. That whole thing...
Why you hang out with me?
I got low standards.
Like mines. Yep.
Makes me feel smart. That whole thing needs to be torn up and just redone.
Yeah.
Your street, same thing.
Oh, I know, right.
The intersection of 39th
great.
and 4th down here, like there's no road there.
No.
It's like driving on the moon.
Oh, it's crazy.
So it's like...
I wonder how many people can do the same thing. If they can just rant about the roads in their town.
Oh, God.
Because the infrastructure in the U.S. is so bad. It's so aging that, oh, man, are we sure we want to go down this avenue, this road?
Are we talking about the conversation or...
yeah.
Or driving?
Just ranting about the roads and the infrastructure in our country.
Well, Duluth likes to use the excuse, like, you know, it would take us 5 years to fix all the roads in town, and we'd have to start again. It's like, it's 2020. We haven't figured out how to make roads last longer than 5 years?
I don't know. Like,
is it what we're using for salt?
Well, here's the funny thing. Like, dirt roads last better. And it's because you just fill in the bumps.
Yeah.
You grade it. It's never great. It's never perfect.
If we go back to dirt roads...
always mediocre.
If we go back to dirt roads, I'm selling the BMW, I'm buying a 22B, and we're just going to rally stage everywhere.
Oh, man. That would be really fun, because I grew up on dirt roads. Yeah. Like, I went to school on dirt roads, in Mackinac area, too. Everywhere's dirt roads.
They're so much fun to drive on.
Yeah, they are. And, like, I mean, I lived out in the middle of nowhere. I was a mile from the highway that was, like, 20 miles from anything, even remotely looking like a town. Been on a lake, and our driveway was a mile long, and it was all
uphill both ways, and
yeah,
okay,
yeah, exactly. And I would have to walk it barefoot, yeah, in Daisy Dukes. It was rough. It was
an
tough
image
living.
I don't want in my head ever again.
One testicle hanging out one side.
That's only because he had one testicle to hang out.
Well, yeah, the other one is like waiting. It's like on the bench. The one's like, I'm not needed yet. I'm just hanging here. Like, if you need me, bro, I'll come in. But I'm hanging back. You're doing the heavy lifting, and I'm here if you need me. So, yeah. So I grew up on the boonies, and there's all the dirt roads back then. It was a lot of fun.
I know, they're always a blast.
A lot of fun.
The only time dirt roads are bad. So my great grandmother
is dust. You can't own a nice car. You can't own a black car.
No, the dust sucks. She lived outside of a town called Emporia, which is in Kansas. It's about 2 hours from Kansas City, if memory serves. And she lived on a low maintenance dirt road. So, like, if it rained, the road would wash out, stuff like that. Like, they never really graded it, any of that kind of crap. So that's when it sucks. Is when you live on a dirt road that's so far out of the way that they just don't care about it anymore.
Oh, I know,
but
right?
If all of our roads were dirt roads, the city would have no choice but to care.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like the washboard eventually develops on every single dirt road, so it makes you wonder how they would go about maintaining that to keep from having the washboard. But,
steamroller.
Okay, so Steve thinks that that's asphalt bite.
It could be.
So maybe what they're doing is they're making it rough so that they can put a fresh layer over the top.
Then hurry up with it. It's been like what, a week.
It is odd. I mean, maybe what they're doing is they're trying to like rough up the road so that they can bring in the big asphalt trucks and just crank it all out in one day. That way they don't have like different equipment in different places. And
see, I still don't understand though why they're fixing roads that aren't that bad.
They weren't terrible. Here's the thing.
8th Street's garbage, and that's a pretty major road.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So the Subaru's got a little bit of it's kind of going wherever it wants. Like it's what do they call it? Bump steer. Yeah. It's got kind of a bump steer effect right now, where it's kind of like if it's hitting like patches on the road, it'll kind of like wander a little bit that way. You can feel the front end kind of doing that a little bit. And I think it's because the bushings and the lower control arms are so bad that it has a little bit of play. And, you know, it doesn't take much for a tire to turn just a teeny bit and kind of move the whole car. So I think the lower control arms have to get replaced.
It's not too bad of a job.
It's it was that road that's getting resurfaced right now. There was a lot of spots where they had like little there were ceiling cracks and stuff, and the car was kind of all over the place. And it makes you wonder if that isn't part of it. Like maybe a lot of other cars were kind of having the same problem because it'd pull you towards the center. The median, well, it doesn't have a median, but towards the center line sometimes, so it's kind of creepy. But more than likely, my car just needs love.
Yeah,
it needs
that's
control
probably
arms.
What it is. Because you've been talking control arms for a while.
I have been. It's been bad. Thankfully, there hasn't been any wear on the tires yet, so I haven't been too worried about it. It's kind of putting money aside and, you know, prioritizing other things.
See, that's the joy of owning multiple cars. Like, for the longest time, there's like a month span where the Subaru needed pads and rotors in the front. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, I don't want to work on it. Like, I didn't have the motivation to work on it, so I just drove the BMW everywhere.
Oh, right.
It's like, oh, okay, this car runs just fine. And then the BMW would act up, like, I guess I'll just drive the Subaru for a while now until I feel like fixing this thing. And it's nice to have options.
It is. Like, it's good to have the backups. Yeah.
You know what our Civic is?
The backup?
It's the backup. It's the Top Gear backup car, essentially. Except for we both like it.
Yeah.
It's not appalling by any means. Except for you drive around with a big Yeti on the hood and it's got your name on the side of it.
Yeah, I mean, which you need to update still. It still says Mischief Garage on it.
That's fair.
We should probably do that one of these days. Yeah. Yeah, but... So, yeah, the Subaru will probably actually make an appearance in an upcoming video before too long, so we'll put control arms in it, and we might as well show the people how to do it.
No, we should do. We should do a double header on Subaru videos. If we're going to do control arms in your car, we should slam the Forester, because I have the...
We should do that. So, the LGT might be getting some suspension work done to it as well. In addition to, like, just the control arms and stuff, we might be doing something cool with it. I haven't decided 100% yet.
Like selling it and buying something else?
Exactly. A Brat. And then I'm going to drive it in the winter just to spite you.
Oh, God. I'd burn your house down. I'm pretty sure your fancy gate. Oh, yeah. I would chop that up and make firewood.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I found myself looking for one of those again.
A Brat?
Oh, yeah.
It's because you have automotive ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, I really like all the cars that I have right now. I should probably get rid of them to buy some piece of shit.
They're not pieces of shit. The Brat.
Oh, no, the Brat isn't a piece of shit. The Subaru Brat is an awesome car, but you would probably buy a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, it's a Brat. Okay, sure. Yeah. I'll pay you $3,000.
The floors are soft. They're that way from the factory.
We can put an S10 clip in a shoebox. We got this.
Yeah. We'll put new floors in it.
What do you mean first and fourth don't work? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, details.
Someday.
Yeah, someday.
Bucket list. Hopefully next summer. We'll see.
Yeah.
Need more space.
Yeah, that'll be car number 5. Yep, but yeah, so maybe we'll tackle a doubleheader on the Subarus.
I think we should.
Something like that.
I love the wheels on the Forester. It just has like a mile and a half of tire gap.
It does, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it would benefit the handling on it, too. I mean, it's not like you...
I really drive the crap out of that.
You might. Like, after you improve the handling a little bit.
The only time that gets driven really hard is when I've been driving the BMW for a couple of days, and then I hop back in that, and I'm like, oh yeah, this thing handles like a yacht.
You get accustomed to it. I know. I've been noticing the 5EAT is starting to show its age.
See, what hurts me is, so on my way to work, I take that big sweeper to go down to Port Terminal on the highway. Mm-hmm. I can take that about 70 in the BMW. And, like, that's being gentle in the car. I forget that the Forester, you really need to do 50 through that because it's got all the body roll. And I hit that pretty fast a couple of times. I'm like,
oh, no. Oh, shit. You're, like, leaning. Oh, no.
Like, oh, looks like my time has come.
You're a little bit of screeching.
I've accepted my fate.
Oh, boy. You go full commitment? Power through? Or do you hammer on the brakes and hope?
I don't hammer on the brakes. I just let off the gas and let the car just kind of coast and do its thing.
That's probably for the best. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Subaru on top of it, I mean, it's one of those things where if you own a Subaru, especially a turbo Subaru, it's just like never-ending tinkering.
Yeah. Yeah, you're always going to have something on it.
It's got 200,000 miles on the 5EAT that's in it. And I'm starting to think it's shifting real hard third to fourth. And it's
probably just have to drain the fluid and put new training fluid in it.
We'll do that. We'll definitely try that out. And that's an easy thing that we can tackle when we do the control arms. Don't say that. It's got like 8,000 miles on the new motor.
So you're 2,000
Don't
miles
say
away
that. Exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, I got a feeling we'll be putting a trans in it before too long.
Yeah.
You know, in the next couple of years, probably.
Oh, maybe the Forester will get hit, and I'll sell you the transmission.
The 4EAT?
Yeah, you have that.
Why would I want that pile of shit?
Because I'll sell it to you for a good price.
Okay, I'll do another 5EAT, thank you. Or I'll just sell the whole car and I'll get a manual transmission one because the wife has never really actually driven it.
It's funny how that works.
I know, right? Like, we buy these cars that are automatic transmissions because we're like, just in case something happens and the wife needs to drive a vehicle to work, we're going to have a auto trans so she can easily drive it.
My wife has driven the Forester a handful of times.
Yeah? Chloe's driven mine like once.
We were coming up from the cities and she drove it back from Hinkley once. And then her car, she got a flat and had a spare on it. And I believe she took the Forester the next day, and I just drove the BMW. Yeah. So it's come in handy a couple of times. But it's like, you have a Civic. Like, learn to drive the Civic.
I know, right?
I am 100% positive at some point in time Harper will learn how to shift gears in that Civic.
I think the thing is, like, women, they know, and most of them, a lot of them, I don't want to, like, generalize, but, like, women love kids. They like, so family and kids are kind of their project cars. So we don't get to have children, so we're not nearly as focused on it. We have children, but we don't have children, you know? So, okay. I just don't think it's, like, it's just not the same. It's not the same level of focus. I think when you go through something as profound as like pregnancy and birth and all that craziness, it just primes you for that to be a major focus in your life. And I think kids are just so important to women that they just don't think about other hobbies in the same way. So when it's like there's aspirations, like they have hobbies, but it's not the same way that men have hobbies.
I think
not usually. Some do, but
yes and no. My wife just commented. So
I would agree. There we go. I'm onto something.
I get that. Like my wife does have some hobbies. I definitely have. I'm tiptoeing too many hobbies. That's my problem. It's like
because you're a dude.
Because like I just want to do everything.
Yeah.
But see, that's where my wife and I work really well together. Is she'll tell me, she'll be like, "Hey, you're really busy this week. Dial it back. Like, tell so and so, f you. You'll fix their car later. Whatever." She's like you're doing too much. Like, slow it down a little bit. As I'm like, you're not doing enough. like do a little bit more. So we kind of balance each other out. Like,
yeah.
I kind of had I don't want to say push, but I did buy her a gift card to take piano lessons because she kept talking about it. And it's kind of like, now you don't have an excuse. And she's been sticking with it for, I think, a couple years now.
Yeah.
As like I said, she'll be like, hey, so this week you have soccer, you want to go play disc golf, you're doing garage night. Maybe Friday.
What is wrong with you?
Maybe Friday. You don't do anything. You just sit at home and chill.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that's actually
it's
right.
not a bad idea.
I should probably do that.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I mean, I look at my wife, and I mean, there's times where I'm kind of like, why don't you have more hobbies or more interests? I think you'd get a lot more out of it, because for me, I have so many endeavors. Like, hey Paul, thanks for joining us. Air cooled dude. Paul's
Nice.
the dude with that gnarly bug that slammed one, the static one.
I love that car.
Yeah,
That's so pretty.
That car's amazing.
Keep bringing it to Machines and Caffeine.
Yeah,
I like seeing it there.
Yeah, and we need to catch up the next time that you come out. So my wife, she's got like, she's dabbled in a couple of different interests. Like, her big thing is music. She's a music fanatic, and it works beautifully because like her passion for sure is our family. So she was able to take that hobby, and it was able to continue easily into being a parent still. You can still be passionate about music. You can still research music. You can still, all the things that music goes into. She's got a drum set, which, I mean, granted, that had to get moved because of having kids, which we'll figure that out later on. But music's an easy one to kind of continue,
Music, I always felt was kind of like riding a bike. Like, even if you take a break from it,
Totally.
you can easily pick it back up and be like, oh, okay, I remember doing this now. Like, you need the practice to get back in the rhythm of things, but you can kind of keep going with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have a guitar on my wall that every once in a while, and I've been playing it since I was 15, I just grab the thing and start twanging on it,
So, speaking of music, literally last week, I used to play a saxophone back in the day, back in middle school, and I really need to learn an instrument again. Like, I miss playing music and all that. I'm on the bike.
Which half of your day are you working?
I'm on the bike, but
you had to transport to get here, definitely.
And I told him, like, I really want to learn the drums. I think the drums would be just fantastic to play.
They're fun.
And like, I'm looking into it. I'm looking into research if I can get a used drum set for like this price and all this, and this. I'm talking to Jim down in the cities.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I'm just like and the wife's just like, pick something. You're doing too much. She's like,
find your lane.
She's like, when are you gonna have time to learn to play the drums?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? I have a free half hour.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
Like, sure you do.
Yeah, that half an hour that you poop. Yeah, well, perfect. I'll put the drums around the toilet.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect. Like, that'll be the percussion. You'll rip ass, and that'll be like the bass.
That's my problem. It's like there's just too many things that I'm like that's why I have so many projects right now. It's like, I could do this, and this. Instead of just like, okay, that's my one project this month.
Well, and I mean, it's worse when you have a skill set.
Yeah. So it's way worse when you know what you're capable of.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. I grew up in a construction zone. Like, the house that so when I lived in Mackinac, that was a complete house. We just lived there. It was nice. And then we moved to our cabin. Remember when I alluded to earlier, the whole, like, Minnesotan lifestyle is, like, you own a house and then you own a cabin. Well, we decided to move to the cabin. We built a massive house attached to the backside of the cabin, complete with a skywalk to where the garage is on the top of the hill. This place was epic. And so I grew up with my dad building all of this craziness. And so I watched all of that, and I got all of this perspective, and I helped out on it. And so I learned how feasible housework actually is. Like, it's really easy. Like, when you look at a house, you go, oh my god, like, it's so intimidating. There's all these things going on. There's siding, there's the framing, there's the electrical, there's the insulation, there's the interior walls, there's the designing, there's the carpet, blah blah blah. But when I look at that, I just see sticks. I just see the framing, and I go like, oh, well, that's all that's behind it. So, like, I know how to do all these things, and I'm like, oh, we want to build an addition? Well, you just cut the wall out, and then you build headers, and then you do this thing, and you mount that to the subfloor, and you give yourself space so that you can build the flooring up. You know, like, you see all of the angles, and my poor wife has no perspective at all on this. And she hears me concoct all of these crazy ideas to her that are insane. But to me, it's just like, yeah, I just want to build a glass door that opens up to a deck out of our master bedroom so that we've got like this little privacy, little like breakfast dinner spot out of our bedroom or whatever. And she's just like, that sounds amazing, but how do you do that? I'm just like, well, it's easy. You just take
cut a hole in the wall.
Well, yeah, you just cut a hole in the wall where the window is, and you frame in a door, and then like you take off the roof of the porch, and then you build a deck off of the front of that, and then you like fit, you take off the siding that's cut, and you put the new siding onto it, and piece of cake. You insulate around the corners, and you frame it in, and there you go. Trim hides the failures, the errors, piece of cake. And she's just like, spinning, head's just spinning in the process.
That sounds like my conversations with my wife in the bus, because when she was like, I don't know if I should get it, I'm like, oh, it's a good deal, like you need to buy this, we'll get it on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, she's like,
it's an investment.
She's like, why are you taking the motor out? I thought it ran. I'm like, oh yeah, but this is a way better motor.
Wait, it ran?
Yeah, the bus ran.
The bus ran, and we took the motor out. You took the motor out.
Why
the hell did you do that?
You can blame Sean.
He talked you into doing the water cooled.
The water cooled. It is going to be better. In the long run, it will be way better.
It'll be fuel injected.
It'll be fuel injected. It'll make 3 times, 4 times more horsepower, so it can actually accelerate onto the highway. It won't catch on...
Well, this is a good topic for Paul to chime in
on. It won't catch on fire. Sorry, Paul.
Shots fired.
Yeah, it won't catch on fire. I can go to any parts store anywhere in the country and get parts off the shelf for it.
That's a good question. I wonder, can you get air-cooled parts in O'Reilly's?
Maybe. I know you can get them, but they have to order them.
Okay.
You might be able to, maybe in California, where they're a little bit more popular.
I bet you can get gaskets. I bet you can get ignition components. I bet you can't do shit with the carbs. I bet you the carbs, you can maybe get like the intake gasket, like carb to intake manifold.
You could probably get parts for them, but you're not going to a parts store to get parts.
Right. You're going to a parts store to order them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I bet they have gaskets. I bet that would be a good question for Alan.
I know the bus. I can get axles.
What time is it? Do you think Alan's 9:32? So I was gonna say Alan might still be there. Text him real quick and find out. Hey, Alan, can you check and see if you guys have a
Alan probably went home about 5. I could text him, but it's not gonna do any good right now.
That's true. He might know. But I just like imagine them pulling out like this box out of the back that's like been buried forever.
Cobwebs, oil stains.
Blows off all of this dust off the top of it, and he's just
Indiana
like,
Jones.
It's an MP intake set or something like that.
Yeah, they have nothing on hand. The couple of parts I've looked into ordering through them was all coming from Iowa.
Iowa.
They have some big. I think they have some big distribution center down.
Oh, okay. It's not like that's where all the air cool parts stay.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Probably sits in a warehouse. Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Well, so an ABA is much more plentiful in terms of parts.
Yeah, and it was free.
I just ruined the surprise.
That's just fine. We're putting an ABA in the back of a bus once we're done with this tour.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Actually, technically, it's in the back of the bus.
It's already there.
We're going to finish it and plumb it and do electrical work and put hardwood floors in it. Yeah. And redo the interior. And, yeah.
Yeah,
and then I get to drive it, and hopefully my wife will want to learn how to drive it. Hopefully. She's always afraid of breaking stuff.
Steve says Davenport, Iowa.
Okay, thank you.
There he is. Yeah. That's where the distribution center is.
That's still far away.
That's awesome. Nice, dude. Yeah, well, exactly. It's quite a ways away for sure. But it's still overnight, though, isn't it?
I think it takes a day or 2.
Okay.
It's overnight from the cities. I think it's 2 days.
What about from Japan?
That's a little bit different.
A few days.
That's a little bit different.
Fair enough.
You have to go to Harry's to get the overnight parts, though.
Yeah, that's true. 2 of the big bottles. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean the water cool is like the natural step if you want fuel injection, if you want a modern motor.
If I want to be able to just drive it anywhere in the country and not care. Yeah.
A lot of air cool guys do though. I mean, if you Google like I guess I don't know what the search words would be, but There's an image that I've seen floating around the internet of a dude who's literally, he's underneath the back of his bug. It's jacked up, and there's the jugs. Like, he split the case. The jugs are sitting out there. The heads are sitting out there. The piston. Like, he's rebuilding the motor on the side of the road. And I don't know if it's staged, but it was an amazing picture.
That's a fantastic picture, but here's the problem with what you just said. He is rebuilding the engine on the side of the road.
I mean, it was a little bit of a problem. Feasibility, though. I mean, they're pretty. They're like a motorcycle engine.
They're very simple to work on.
It's like a CB750.
But the goal is to never have to rebuild the engine on the side of the road.
Well, he shouldn't have bought a Volkswagen.
That's why it's got the ABA now.
You should put a Honda motor in it.
I have a Honda motor I could put in it.
There it is.
I don't want to.
Everybody would hate you if you did that.
I would hate myself for that.
I wouldn't. I think that would be pretty rad.
I would hate you for not hating me.
Okay.
If that makes
That's
sense.
fair. I see the math in all of this. Yeah.
Really? Your math earlier was not very good.
Brooklyn Park Distribution Center is overnight. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. The metro area of Minnesota.
So does
overnight.
Steve... do you work part-time at O'Reilly's now?
He used to. He used to slang parts for Harry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Explain to the green you like to wear.
Yeah, exactly. And these WD-40 on all the countertops.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's why when we went to go pick up the transmission for you, kept trying to throw things in.
Slipping off the edge. Yeah, right.
You sure you don't need this? Just take it.
Just take it. All right. So,
calling it a night.
You got any dad jokes?
Yeah, but I can't remember if did I tell you the blonde jokes involving the river?
Go on.
Okay, so there's a blonde that walks up to a river, and she looks across the river, and there's another blonde, and she's like, "Hey, how'd you get to the other side?" The other blonde replies back, "What are you talking about? You are on the other side."
That's a pretty good one.
There you go.
All right. Well, I got one.
Oh God.
All right. What do you call somebody with what do you call someone with no body and no nose? Nobody knows.
Oh God. I thought I knew the answer to that, but I was really...
I feel like I could have delivered that better.
I was really hoping I was wrong.
Yeah, you kind of figured where that was going.
Yeah, my insights hurt, and I don't think it's the beer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the pulled pork sandwich you had earlier.
So tasty, though.
Yeah.
It's been a good night.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for the podcast, the Brews with the Dudes, number 7. We clearly had a lot of fun, as all of